topic of this video, as you saw by the title, is pain and suffering, and why I think pain and suffering are so important to your existence as a human. To kind of sum it up into one sentence, I'll go a little bit more into depth to it, but at the start, pain and suffering are the ultimate teacher. They're the ultimate guidance in our life, is our fleet from pain and suffering. We want to do anything that it takes to get away from that, whether it be emotional, like heartbreak, or physical, like any sort of tragic, accident that could happen to you physically. We're really, as humans, kind of designed to flee from it. And so what that means is the actual pain and suffering itself is the ultimate teacher. Because it's almost like, let's just say you're in an open space and you need to get, like this field I'm at, you need to get from the start to the end, but there's an invisible barrier. And the invisible barrier is all the pain and suffering. And so I don't know where I'm going, but as I start to walk, I go this way, boom, I hit a wall. I know I can't go that way. That's the pain and suffering. It's saying, hey, I'm teaching you a lesson. Don't come this way again. So, okay, now I'm gonna go this way. And eventually I keep walking, boom, hit another wall. Pain and suffering, telling me, smacking me in the face, saying, hey, this ain't a good idea to go here. Learn your lesson. Boom, I learned my lesson. Now I can go this way. And eventually, you're gonna get to the end of the field. But there's a lot of people that will go through life doing, whatever it takes to not actually confront the pain and the suffering. And they're not even willing to walk 5 feet into the field because they're just scared of hitting that first wall of the pain and the suffering, right? In my personal experience in life, obviously I hate pain and suffering. I mean, who doesn't? But I think over the past few years, when I've gone through certain things and had to deal with it, that I've learned that it's those things that make me who I am, right? It's those things that are leading me towards the direction that I want to go. I'm only 15 steps into the maze right now, I got the whole field left to go. I got my whole life left to go. And so I'm not really much better than anybody else. But the reason I really wanted to make this video is to just say, don't shy away from the pain and the suffering, because it's gonna teach you what you need to do to improve as a person. And it's those trials, those tribulations in your life that make you who you are. I don't want to die without any scars. I want to experience life to its fullest. I want to experience the highest of the highs, and you got to experience some of the lows too. The thing is, you can't appreciate the good things without the bad. That's what I've realized. My dad, I fast often, and sometimes I have very intense fasts for like a week or like 10 days. And I've had so many people tell me, Ethan, you're crazy. Like, why are you fasting? And I was like, every time I sit down and I eat a meal, I enjoy that meal more than you, even if my food is worse than yours, because I'm appreciating it, because what I've created is scarcity. And scarcity in and of itself is a type of suffering, not as intense as other types, but you could have scarcity of love. That's a suffering. You could have scarcity of friendship. That's a suffering. You could have a scarcity of water. Of course, that's going to be a suffering, And so all these things have kind of taught me to appreciate stuff, When I had a friend of mine, dated a bunch of women, never really understood it, but he always just kind of was like a womanizer and was like talking to all these girls. And I was like, bro, think about the one time where you actually meet this girl and you really, really love her, and she's like the different one or whatever, and you decide you want to marry this woman. How is she going to feel knowing that you went and did all this stuff with all these other girls? It's going to make her feel less valuable, because there's no scarcity in it. And so what you need is to, in life, go through the pain and suffering, accept the scarcity, because it's those lows, it's not having a thing that makes having it all that much better. And so if you just go through life and you're just avoiding it at all costs, the other end of this field, boom, it's all the glory. It's the family that I want. It's the beautiful wife, the kids, my church, my future church. It's all the things that I want in life. The only way I can get there is if I become a stronger person through the trials and the tribulations that it takes to get from point A to point B. And sometimes it's going to suck, and, sometimes you're going to want so badly to um, flee in the face of any type of adversity at all. And I'm guilty of this myself. Like, I've done jobs that have been like, I did a job when I was fresh out of my first year of college, and it was an internship, and I was just like knocking door to door in the neighborhood for a product I didn't even know what it was. And I would go like 3-4 days. My first 3-4 days, I was like working so hard, and I got no sales. So think about this. Like, and it's like, you work crazy hours. I was working like, in those few days, like, I had already worked easily like 50 hours. Like, it was the amount of time that I was actually spending in those like 4 or 5 days on the doors was crazy, and I got no money. And I was like, this sucks. Like, I'm cold. Like, it's all this terrible stuff. Like, I've called my parents. I'm like, this is just terrible. And even my parents were like, it doesn't seem worth it. You're not making any money. You're just putting all this time into it. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a deal with myself. I'm going to finish out this summer, even if it sucks, just to see what happens. And, that following week, I ended up making a bunch of money, more money than I would have made for months at a different summer's job. And I just remember sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I really wanted to quit. The level of uncomfort that I felt, and the level of, mental tricks that were going on in my mind, and just like not having the confidence, all that stuff. I didn't know what to do, man. And so in life, you're gonna go through things, and it's reality. But what you need to ask yourself is, what is this teaching me right now? Don't complain and say, man, this sucks. Ask yourself, what is the lesson that can be learned here? How can I improve? You're not going to make the same mistake over and over and over and over again if you can actually analyze the experience and figure out. And if the experience is so painful, it's just a stronger lesson, and it's going to stick with you. Like, there's certain things that have happened to me. There's certain things that have happened to you watching this right now, where it's like, I bet it was super painful, and I bet that's something you never forget. And it's something that maybe changes the type of behavior you put forth in your life daily, because you're trying to avoid that whole situation from ever happening again. Well, it's like you needed to go through that to like learn, So don't shy away from the pain and the suffering. It's gonna happen. And also, just think about it like this, man. Through all of human existence, like, we live in the best time we could possibly live. There's the most medical advancements ever in this time right now. Like, if you break your leg pretty badly, nowadays you can go and get surgery. You can go to a hospital and have people that are professionally trained and have years and years of experience doing this. You go back even just 100 years, like, those people would have to be put in a splint, and they're going to be limping for life, and it's never going to be, accurately, the wounds are never going to be accurately tended to, And so nowadays we have all this stuff, and we have like resources for all these different things, and like, we know so much more about the human brain and activity and how to go through certain situations. And there's the internet. I can look up anything I want to on the internet to get answers. You go back 30 years, we didn't even have that. So if you just think about it, like, be appreciative for the time you live in, and make sure that those times that you do experience pain and suffering, and it's inevitable, it's part of the human experience. Every single person in this video that I'm talking to right now has gone through some type of pain and suffering. Just learn to accept that as the ultimate teacher and improve on it, man. Build. Continue to go through hard things. Build. Continue to go to the hard things. Build. Fall on your face. Get back up. Keep on doing these things over and over again. And this is how you improve as a person. It's how you get better as a person. I saw this thing, and it was a guy on a podcast, and he was like, yeah, like, sure, like, there's like Nepo babies, and there's people out there that have had things handed to them, and they're billionaires, and they've done all this stuff, but he's like, they don't have great characters. He's like, they simply can't. He's like, they have the potential if they actually go through something, but he's like, they've never experienced real hardship. Real hardship is not having anything to fall back on. You know what I mean? It's having no backup plan. There's no mommy and daddy aren't going to help you. Like, you want to build, life is about building a good character. It's not about just making money. It's not about just reaching levels in your career that are at the top. It's about the relationships you build. It's about who you are as a person. And, everything comes at a price. And the greatest things in the world come at the steepest price possible. That's just, it's the yin and the yang. like I was saying earlier, you know, it's the lows that make us appreciate the highs. If you get to wake up every day and you get to go in a hot tub every day, then when you go in that hot tub the next day and you just did it for the past month, it's gonna feel like every other day. But for me, someone who I literally never go in a hot tub, bro, I'm gonna enjoy that thing. That thing's gonna be a jacuzzi. I'm gonna be chilling. I'm gonna get a nice drink. Like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna enjoy it, and then that's applicable to anything. And it's just because, like I was mentioned before, you know, you have the lows of your life where you don't have these things. You need to your lack of having something, or I think on a deeper level, you know, the pain of experiences that are the inverse of what you want to experience, is so great that it makes, when you actually finally get to experience the highs, the thing you want, man, it makes it all that much better. Like somebody who doesn't date any girls and like waits for the one and he finally dates her, she's gonna matter so much more to him than the guy that goes and dates 100 women. You know, that's just the reality of life. That's how it works. There's more value in scarcity. It's how it works. You know, so if you get anything from this video, man, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to do the thing that you've been avoiding, to confront whatever it is and face the fear and bite the bullet, because it's the other end of it that you're going to enjoy the most, and you're going to appreciate having gone through what you went through. Like, who wants, have you ever read a book or seen a movie about like a hero and they just go straight up to the dragon, one slash slay the dragon, and that's it? They never face adversity. It's like, no, that's not a good story. That knight wouldn't be a hero if that was the case. He had to go through everybody in his, you know, everybody in his life thinking that he was crazy, and having to go through some of the most harsh battles and having his back against the wall the whole time and getting knocked down and going through injuries and going through mental blockades and all this stuff to finally get to where he wants to be and finally reign victorious in the end. Is, you know, the beauty is in that journey where you're going through the things and you're building your character, you're building it. Life is not about, like I was saying, getting the money. It's about building your character. Who are you? You can't build your character without the pain and the suffering. It's impossible. So just take what you will with that, and maybe hopefully you can start to apply some of this to your life.